Let me tell you something that no one has dared to tell you. Your life right now is a reflection of every decision you've made or refused to make. And here's the brutal truth. You're one decision away from a completely different life. Not 10, not 5. One. One decision can rewrite your entire destiny. That isn't a ghostly creature, it's truth you've never fully accepted. Because once you know that, once you realize the power you're sitting on, you'll never be able to lie to yourself again. You can't play the victim when you're holding the detonator. You can't complain about the cage when the key has always been in your hand. The life you want isn't 1,000 steps away, it's one brutal, non-negotiable decision away. The world will keep spinning whether you rise or rot, but your decision determines how you spin with it. One decision to drop the mask and face the mirror will reveal the savage gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. One decision to stop explaining and start executing will silence every doubter, every hater, every whisper that said you couldn't. One decision to go all in, to cut the safety net, burn the fallback plan, and step into your raw, unfiltered potential will rip the limits off your life. It won't feel safe. It won't feel smart. It'll feel like war. And that's exactly what it is. A war between the life you tolerate and the life you were born to build. People will tell you it's not that simple. They'll feed you poison disguised as patience. But simplicity is where power lies. One decision, one shift in mindset, one refusal to stay average, that's where the transformation begins. Not after the seminar, not after the promotion, not after they believe in you. It starts the second you decide to stop settling. Destiny doesn't wait. It doesn't take appointments. It doesn't care how tired you are or how broken you feel. It demands action now. Every legend you admire, every unstoppable force of nature who changed the world was just a regular human who made one decision to never go back. They weren't chosen. They chose. They chose discipline when distraction was easier. They chose pain when comfort begged them to stay. They chose growth when everyone around them was choosing excuses. That one decision doesn't just shift your path, it sets fire to everything behind you, so you can't go back. And that's the point. You've already seen what playing it safe gets you. You've already lived the version of your life that's edited, muted, and forgettable. The people who change the world are not the ones who make perfect plans. They're the ones who make violent decisions. Decisions that separate them from the herd. Decisions that scream, "I will not die ordinary." Decisions that make others uncomfortable because they expose what everyone else is too afraid to face. This decision is not convenient. It is not polite. It is not passive. It is war against every sec you've wasted, every talent you've buried, brain you've delayed. One decision to stop being available to mediocrity will terrify everyone who still is. The second you decide, really decide, the universe bends. The air changes. The world starts reacting to you differently because you become someone different. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop doubting and start dominating. You become the kind of person who doesn't need approval because purpose is louder than applause. One decision will make you dangerous. One decision will make you unstoppable. One decision will drag your greatness out of hiding and force the world to take notice. But most will never make that decision. Most will flirt with their potential but never commit. They'll talk about goals but never bleed for them. They'll live on the edge of breakthrough but never leap. Why? Because the decision to go all in requires one thing most people can't stomach: responsibility. When you decide, you eliminate excuses. You kill the back doors. You own the outcome. And once you taste that kind of power, you can't go back to being numb. One decision will require you to let go of everything that made you feel safe. Your old friends, your old habits, your old identity. You'll have to bury the version of you that everyone accepted, because that version was built for survival, not domination. The decision will cost you your comfort, but what it gives you is savage freedom. Freedom to fail loudly. Freedom with unapologetically. Freedom to live a life that echoes through generations. You were not meant to crawl through life. You were not designed to die unnoticed. The spark inside you, the quiet whisper that says there's more, is not a lie. It's a warning. A warning that time is running out and your destiny is suffocating under your hesitation. One decision can break the chains of everything you were told you couldn't be. One decision can turn regret into fuel, pain into power, fear into fire. You don't need more time. You don't need another sign. You need to stop pretending you don't know what needs to be done. You've known all along. The only thing missing is the violence of your commitment. The ruthless declaration that says, "Today is the last day I live beneath my power." One decision can make your name matter. One decision can make your story a blueprint for generations. One decision can make death terrified to come for you, because it knows your legacy will outlive your body. You have a choice. Stay safe, stay small, stay forgettable. Or decide that your bloodline changes with you. Decide that your pain won't be wasted. Decide that your name will not vanish into silence. Decide that you weren't born to watch, but to break the system. One decision can turn a nobody into a name the world never forgets. One decision can take a broken past and turn it into unshakable purpose. One decision can take you from overlooked to undeniable. You don't need the world to understand. You don't need a crowd to clap. You don't need permission to ride. You just need to choose. Choose to no longer be available to the version of you that keeps playing small. Choose to become the weapon your purpose has been waiting for. Choose to stand up, speak up, and show up like the fate of the world depends on it, because in a way it does. You have one life, one shot, one breath, one choice, and that choice, that single, savage, irreversible decision will not just change your life. It will change your entire existence. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It creeps in disguised as peace, but it's poison with a smile. It doesn't stab you in the heart, it wraps around your soul and squeezes until your ambition flatlines. It convinces you that good enough is a destination instead of a death sentence. It whispers, why push, when everything inside you is begging to rise. It rewards you with rest, but steals your roar. It gives you softness and takes your strength. It tells you to wait, to breathe, to relax, and then robs you blind while you sleep. No warrior was born in comfort. No empire was built from the couch. No name was etched into history from a place of ease. Every great life was forged in fire, not feather pillows. The life you want doesn't live inside the comfort zone, it dies there. Comfort numbs your hunger. It lulls your edge into silence. It trades your power for peace, your growth for safety, your future for now. It doesn't scream, it seduces. It doesn't demand, it distracts. And before you even know it, the fire in you is ashes. Comfort says you've done enough, but greatness says there's more inside you. Comfort says don't risk it, but purpose says you were born for war. Comfort gives you the illusion of control, but it's just a cage with fancy curtains. It traps you in routines that suffocate your evolution. It rewards you with predictability and punishes you with invisibility. You don't grow when you're comfortable, you decay. Slowly, quietly, permanently. Your potential hates comfort. It chokes under routine. It dies in silence. Every time you choose the easy road, you bury the warrior inside you. Every time you take the shortcut, you steal from your legacy. You can't have greatness and comfort in the same breath. One must die for the other to live. People don't fear failure, they fear the discomfort required to rise. They fear the sting of discipline, the pain of repetition, the weight of responsibility. So they choose comfort and pretend they're choosing peace. The most dangerous place in the world is the one where nothing challenges you, where no one calls you out, where your dreams are just pretty ideas, not violent commitments. Comfort zones are graveyards for destiny. Your gifts don't grow there. Your vision doesn't stretch there. Your strength doesn't awaken there. Everything you say you want lives just outside what's comfortable. But most people will never taste it because their appetite for comfort is stronger than their hunger for transformation. Comfort is a liar. It tells you that avoiding pain is smart. But the truth is, avoiding pain creates a lifetime of suffering. The pain of growth is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. And the longer you stay comfortable, the more your courage atrophies. The more your mind softens. The more your identity dissolves into the noise of everyone else who chose to blend in instead of break out. You weren't born to fit into a system, you were born to shatter it. But you can't break anything when you're scared to sweat. Every breakthrough lies beyond the wall of comfort. You will never reach your next level while protecting your current one. You will never find your purpose while prioritizing pleasure. You can't hold greatness with hands that won't bleed. You can't lead a revolution from a recliner. And you damn sure can't become unshakable when you refuse to be uncomfortable. Comfort is not peace, it's a padded cell. And every second you spend in it, the world loses the fire only you were built to bring. Nothing about comfort teaches you who you are. You don't find your edge there. You don't find your voice there. You find your truth when you're breaking. You find your power when you're stretched. You find your soul when everything in you is screaming to quit, but you don't. Every second in discomfort sculpts you into someone the world can't ignore. And every second you retreat from it, you become invisible. Ordinary, replaceable. This world isn't lacking talent, it's drowning in comfort. Men and women with greatness in their bones, asleep in routines that numb the fire they were born with. They trade legacy for likes. They trade pain for pleasure. They trade immortality for mediocrity. And they call it balance. But balance is a lie if it costs you your impact. If it costs you your calling. If it costs you the greatness that's been screaming from inside you since the day you were born, comfort is the death of urgency, the death of movement, the death of the why that once kept you awake at night. And if you let it stay too long, it rewires you. It teaches you to crave softness, to run from intensity, to settle for slow decay instead of explosive transformation. You weren't made to coast. You were made to crash through limits. But that only happens when you make discomfort your home. You think the pain of discomfort is hard? Try living with the pain of a life half lived. Try waking up 5 years from now with the same dreams, the same problems, the same emptiness, all because comfort told you to wait. Try looking in the mirror and realizing you're not even a shadow of the person you were supposed to be. That's real pain. That's the kind that never lets go, and comfort is what leads you there. Every legend, every leader, every force of nature had one thing in common: they were addicted to discomfort. They chased it. They welcomed it. They knew it was the price of purpose. They trained in the pain until it became normal, until fear turned into fuel, until obstacles turned into invitations, until struggle became sacred. And that's the difference. Greatness isn't born in talent. It's born in tension. Your destiny is allergic to comfort. Your future is repelled by softness. Your next level is on the other side of everything you're avoiding. The work, the grind, the sleepless nights sacrifice. That's the entry fee. And most people aren't willing to pay it. But you're not most people. You can't be. Because something in you knows this life, this routine, this comfort, this isn't it. This isn't where your story ends. Success starts where your excuses end. Every time you speak an excuse, you sign a contract with failure. Every time you justify your limits, you marry mediocrity. Excuses are the language of the powerless, the anthem of the average, the lullaby that puts ambition to sleep. They sound smart. They sound logical. But they are nothing but fear in disguise. You were not born to explain why you couldn't. You were born to prove that you could. And until you decide to kill your excuses, they will kill your future. Excuses are comfort for the weak. They protect the ego, but they paralyze the soul. They convince you that your pain is permanent, your past is poison, your dreams are unreachable. They create a false reality where blame feels like truth, where waiting feels like strategy, where quitting feels like self-care. But every excuse you speak is a brick in the wall that stands between you and your purpose. And no one is coming to tear that wall down for you. It's your job to demolish it, with action, with fire, with the decision to stop running from responsibility. Your reasons are valid, but they don't change reality. You might have trauma, you might have been broken, you might be tired, broke, abandoned, and alone, but you are not powerless unless you choose to be. Excuses make you sound like a victim. But success is allergic to victims. Success demands ownership, brutal, raw, uncomfortable ownership. It asks you to look in the mirror and admit that no one else is to blame. Not your boss, not your past, not your upbringing. Just you. The day you stop making excuses is the day your power is activated. It's the moment you become untouchable. Because when there's no one else to blame, there's nothing left to wait for. You become the weapon. You become the storm. You become the force that moves mountains, because nothing outside of you can stop what's inside of you. That's the switch. That's the point where life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. Excuses create illusions. They trick you into believing you're stuck when you're just scared. They turn small problems into permanent prisons. They magnify the obstacle and minimize the warrior inside you. But the truth is, you don't have a motivation problem. You don't have a discipline problem. You have an excuse addiction. You've been feeding your fears and starving your potential. And every time you say, I can't, what you really mean is, I won't. That's the difference between the successful and the stuck. Not intelligence. Not luck. Just a refusal to keep lying to themselves. You say you don't have time, but you watched 5 hours of Netflix last night. You say you don't have the energy, but you wasted it all on people who don't build you. You say you're not ready, but you've been preparing your whole damn life. Success doesn't wait for the perfect time, it waits for the person who stops waiting. It shows up the second you stop defending your limitations and start attacking your possibilities. Excuses feel good in the moment. They let you off the hook. They let you keep your pride, but they rob you of everything else. Excuses don't protect you, they bury you, they keep you small. They keep you silent. They keep you average, and you weren't built for average. There's nothing legendary about a person who's always got a reason why they couldn't rise. There's nothing unforgettable about someone who hides behind someday. You think you're being reasonable, but you're just being scared. You think you're being patient, but you're just being passive. You think you're being realistic, but you're just being lazy with better vocabulary. If you want to succeed, you have to murder the part of you that keeps making excuses for why you're still standing in the same place. And that part of you will scream. It will resist, because it knows it's dying. Excuses love company. They love friends who complain. They love environments where blame is normal. They love routines where nothing grows. But if you want to be successful, you have to become immune to that noise. You have to become allergic to your own excuses. You have to recognize them the moment they show up and destroy them before they infect your vision. You have to become the kind of person who doesn't allow their own weakness to speak unchecked. You've convinced yourself that your self is different, that your struggle is too deep, that your circumstances are too complex, that your pain is too much. But success doesn't care. Success doesn't bend for your story. It waits on the other side of your surrender. You either give up the excuses or you give up the dream. But you don't get to keep both. It's not about feeling like it. It's about deciding to do it even when every part of you screams don't. Excuses are emotions turned into logic. But action is truth. And truth is the only language success understands. When you stop giving your excuses a microphone, your progress will finally find its voice. When you stop making space for your limitations, your potential will take up the room. When you stop protecting your fear, your greatness will come out of hiding. You can't build an empire with the bricks of blame. You can't climb out of your pit while holding onto the rope of justification. You can't break cycles while explaining why they exist. You have to decide that nothing, not pain, not your people, not your past, has more power than your purpose. And that decision will offend your comfort. It will make your excuses scream. But that's how you know it's real. Success doesn't ask if you're ready. It just shows up when you stop hesitating. It appears when you make a ruthless decision to become the kind of person who does what they said they would do no matter what. The kind of person who doesn't need a perfect plan, just an unbreakable mindset. The kind of person who trades comfort for legacy and excuses for execution. You were not built to explain. You were built to explode. To burst through what others settle for. To shatter every limitation that ever dared whisper in your ear. But that version of you is being held hostage by excuses. They have your greatness in a chokehold. And every time you speak them, you tighten the grip. You say you want success, but you still entertain thoughts that sabotage it. You say you want freedom, but you still repeat behaviors that build chains. You say you want to rise, but you're still telling stories that keep you grounded. At some point, you either become the excuse killer or you become the dream killer. And most people are both, they just don't know it. No more justifying. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more one day. The day you stop feeding your excuses is the day your future starts breathing. The day you shut down the lies you've told yourself for years is the day the truth grabs the wheel. And the truth is this: you are powerful beyond reason, capable beyond logic, and ready beyond belief, but only if you stop speaking the language of limits. The life you dream about is not waiting for you, it's hiding behind the things you fear. Every breakthrough you crave is guarded by a wall called discomfort. And fear is the gatekeeper daring you to stay small. The greatest lie you've ever believed is that fear is a warning. It is not. Fear is a compass. It always points to what matters most. And most people spend their lives running from the very thing that could make them immortal. Your fear isn't the enemy, it's the map to your destiny. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. Courage means fear is screaming in your face and you still take the shot. You still move forward. You still do the thing your body says not to because your soul is louder. Fear will always show up when you're getting closer to your greatness. It doesn't attack weakness, it attacks potential. If you feel fear, it means you're on the edge of power. But most people never cross that edge. They bow to the fear instead of becoming the fire. You cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. You cannot evolve while avoiding the very path that was designed to forge your strength. Fear doesn't go away, it waits. It waits for you every morning when you wake up. It waits behind your excuses. It waits inside your comfort zone, whispering lies dressed as logic. And if you let it, it will narrate your entire life. It will write your story in lowercase. It will make sure you never stand out. Never break free. Never become who you were born to be. Every fear you obey becomes your master. Every time you say, I'm not ready, you hand over the keys to your future. Every time you say, what if I fail? You feed the parasite that lives to starve your greatness. Fear is not powerful, it's just persistent. It survives only because you keep feeding it with hesitation, with doubt, with delay. But the moment you move through it, you find out it was paper thin. An illusion that only had power because you believed it did. People don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they listen to fear long enough to believe it speaks truth. But fear has one job: to keep you alive. Not fulfilled, not legendary, just alive. But you weren't born to just survive this life. You were born to shake it, to stretch it, to break the laws of what's normal and create something that leaves a mark. But that kind of life doesn't come wrapped in safety. It comes dressed in risk, in vulnerability, in fear that you'll face again and again until it gets tired of fighting someone who never stops. Fear will always be there, but so will you. And when you decide to rise in spite of it, to move without guarantees, to show up without validation, fear starts to lose its voice. Because fear cannot survive in the presence of consistent action. Every step you take forward makes the voice quieter. Every decision you make in the face of fear makes you louder. You become undeniable, not by erasing fear, but by drowning it out with your obsession, your execution, your refusal to retreat. Every giant you've ever admired walked through fear to become who they are. They weren't immune. They were relentless. They didn't wait to feel brave. They acted their way into bravery. They screamed into the silence and moved while their hands were shaking. And now you remember their names, while the ones who bowed to fear were buried with their excuses. The graveyard is full of potential that got silenced by fear. Don't let that be your legacy. The goal is not to eliminate fear, it's to become bigger than it, stronger than it, louder than it. Fear loses power the moment you realize it's not here to stop you, it's here to reveal you. It exposes where you haven't yet owned your greatness. It highlights where your mind is still small, where your vision still needs sharpening, where your soul still hides on its own weight. But it only wins if you run. It only wins if you bow. It only wins if you stay quiet when your voice was built to roar. You were not built to tiptoe through life. You were not designed to die with your potential still locked inside you. Here is the test, and how you respond writes your story. Will you bow or will you rise? Will you shrink or will you expand? Will you stay in the prison of what if, or will you break the door down with watch me? The world isn't changed by the fearless, it's changed by those who fear and fight anyway. Most people let fear make decisions for them. They let it choose their relationships, their careers, their level of risk. They build lives so small that fear never gets triggered. And then they wonder why they feel numb, why they feel stuck, why they feel invisible. It's because they designed their lives around avoiding fear, not conquering it. And if you avoid fear, you avoid the very thing that makes you feel alive. You want to find your purpose. Face your fear. You want to discover your next level. Walk directly into what makes you want to run. You want to become unforgettable. Then stop trying to be safe. Safe never made history. Safe never made impact. Safe never led a revolution. Safe never shocked the world. And if the world is going to feel you, really feel you, it's going to be because you walked through hell with fear on your back and did it anyway. Fear will make you second guess your calling. It will magnify your flaws and minimize your strengths. It will remind you of every time you fell, every time you were laughed at, every moment you were unsure. And if you let it, it will build a case so convincing that you'll believe you're not enough. But here's the truth: you decide what's true. Not your fear, not your past, not your wounds. Only you. And every time you act in spite of fear, you rewrite the story. Fear wants you to delay. The question: to analyze yourself into paralysis. But speed kills fear. Movement suffocates it. Decision weakens it. When you trust yourself more than you trust the fear, the balance of power shifts. You stop surviving and start creating. You stop explaining and start executing. You stop holding back and start dominating. You don't need more time. You need more courage. You don't need more motivation. You need more boldness. You don't need a better plan. You need a deeper belief. Fear will always give you a reason to pause. But purpose will always give you a reason to fight. And you have to choose which voice gets the final word. The voice that keeps you safe or the one that makes you dangerous. The version of you on the other side of fear is unrecognizable. That version is powerful, certain, ruthless with time, obsessive with growth, addicted to results. That version isn't held back by what people think, isn't owned by insecurity, isn't scared to fail because they know failure is the cost of flight. But you don't meet that version until you kill the lie that fear means stop. So walk into the fire. Speak when your throat shakes. Move when your knees tremble. Leap before the bridge appears. Because that's where your life begins, not in the safety, not in the knowing, but in the chaos, in the mystery, in the wild unknown where legends are born and history is rewritten by those who refuse to let fear decide their fate. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you demand to become. Discipline is not punishment. It's a declaration that you will not be ruled by your mood. It's a weapon you pull when motivation dies and the world is silent. It is the daily war between your weakness and your willpower. Discipline is the voice in your head that says do it anyway when comfort begs you to quit. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're uninspired. It only cares that you show up. The world bows to the man who does what needs to be done, especially when he doesn't feel like it. Discipline is savage, ruthless, consistent execution in the face of excuses. Every time you choose discipline, you sharpen your future and destroy your limits. The lazy will call you obsessed. The weak will call you crazy. But the results will call you unstoppable. Discipline makes you dangerous because it turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. It is the unsexy grind that creates the legendary legacy. No applause, no spotlight, just repetition fueled by obsession. You cannot build a new life with the habits that built your old one. Discipline is the decision to become the person who earns what they pray for it. It is waking up early when your body begs for more sleep because your dream is louder. It's putting in the reps when no one is watching. Because you are always watching. It is the standard you set that refuses to be negotiated. Discipline means you don't need to be in the mood. You are the mood while others scroll. You build while others complain. You execute while others hope. You hunt. Discipline is the ultimate act of self-respect. It says, I believe in my future more than my feelings. It turns habits into weapons and pain into progress. You don't rise by doing it once. You rise by doing it daily. You don't evolve by choosing easy. You evolve by choosing a line. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. It commands performance. It doesn't care about the weather, the circumstances, the opinions. Only cares that you move. Discipline is the war cry of the uncommon. It's the language the great speak when motivation is dead and the world feels numb. It is lifting when you're sore, running when you're drained, studying when you're bored. Discipline is the killer instinct that whispers again when the average say enough. It is the law of self-made kings and queens. Every champion was built on the back of boring. Every master was once a disaster that chose consistency over chaos. Discipline rewrites your identity. It doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your soul. You become a different animal when discipline takes over. You stop negotiating with excuses and start executing with precision. Discipline means you don't just dream, you dominate. You don't just plan, you perform. You don't just say, you become. The disciplined person doesn't rise above others because they're more talented. They rise because they keep their word when no one else will. They rise because they treat their goals like oxygen, not an option. But survival. Discipline makes you dangerous because it creates evidence, and evidence builds belief. The more you show up, the less doubt you carry, the more you follow through, the more momentum you build. It becomes a chain reaction of power, clarity, and conviction. You stop asking, can I? And start saying, watch me. Discipline doesn't start in the gym or the office. It starts in your mind when you decide that your comfort zone is your cage. It's not about having time, it's about taking it. It's not about feeling ready, it's about being relentless. Every excuse you silence becomes a result you unlock. Every urge you resist becomes a future you accelerate. Discipline means you suffer now so you don't suffer forever. It means you choose the pain of growth over the pain of your delay. Pleasure to multiply power. You trade temporary ease for eternal elevation. Discipline is the engine behind every transformation. It is not found, it is forge it. And you forge it every time you move with purpose. Instead of emotion, you want to be great. Then master boring, master early mornings, master showing up when it's hard, master pushing through when it sucks, because those are the days that separate the amateurs from the architects, the dabblers from the dominators, the hopeful from the historic. Discipline makes you consistent. And consistency makes you lethal. It removes the guesswork. It removes the emotional chaos. It removes the uncertainty because you're already decided who you are. And once you decide, you move like it, talk like it, work like it, live like it. Discipline doesn't tolerate weakness. It transforms it. It doesn't coddle fear. It confronts it. It doesn't allow for average. It annihilates it. You either build discipline or you build distractions. You either prioritize purpose or protect pattern, rise or you rot. There is no middle ground. Every day you skip. You reinforce the lie that you are optional. Every day you execute. You reinforce the truth that you are inevitable. Discipline is not intensity, it's integrity. It's not perfection, it's persistence. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you promised. And you made that promise to yourself, so honor it, because no one's coming to save you. No one's going to drag you out of bed. No one's going to force you to work. No one's going to remind you why you started. That's your job. The second you stop outsourcing that responsibility is the second you reclaim your life. Discipline is freedom in disguise. It is structure that leads to sovereignty. It is control that leads to creativity. It is repetition that leads to revelation. Revelation is the silent builder of loud empires, the invisible force behind unforgettable lives. You cannot be legendary and lazy. You cannot be remembered and inconsistent. You cannot be elate and emotional. Choose one, because every decision either feeds the disciplined version of you or starves at every action. Either it nor dulls at every hour, either stacks your future or feels it. Discipline is the difference between someday and now, between almost and always, between forgotten and forever. Success does not wait for permission. It is claimed by those who refuse to beg for it. It does not arrive with warning. It shows up disguised as hard choices and brutal effort. The world does not hand out greatness. It dares you to take it with blood in your mouth and fire in your chest. Every person you admire became that way by doing what others wouldn't. Success is never an accident. It's always an outcome of violent intention. Relentless action. You will not stumble into your purpose. You must storm into it with rage against average. The life you crave will never chase you. You must hunt it down with obsession. Audacity waiting is the language of the lost, the committed. Don't wait, they go. Success demands urgency, not comfort, not someday, not when it's easy. But now it will cost you your laziness, it will cost you your excuses, it will cost you your distractions, it will demand everything you are and everything you hide from. If you're not willing to sacrifice for your future becomes the sacrifice. There is no dream without a deadline, no purpose without pressure, no growth without resistance. If it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. If it doesn't stretch you, it's not worthy of you. You don't manifest success. You mold it in the fire of early mornings and late nights. You carve it from the stone of pain, repetition, and endurance. Your story is written in your decisions, not your desires. Your potential is worthless. If it stays untouched, success doesn't care how much you can do, only what you will do. If you want to be rare, you must do what's rare most people quit at. Discomfort, the successful bleed through it. Most complain, the elite execute. Most make plans, the relentless make results. Success is reserved for those who burn bridges to mediocrity. Never look back. It will laugh at your fear until you fight back with action. It will test you, break you, and dare you to rise again. It's not for the pretty or the polite, it's for the savage and the self-possessed. You will never meet the highest version of you by staying comfortable. You must run headfirst into the fire and become something unrecognizable. This world remembers those who refuse to wait, who built while others watch. Success is not won by the perfect, it's claimed by the persistent. You don't have to feel ready, you have to move. You don't need approval, you need obsession. You don't need luck, you need consistency. So ruthless, it looks like insanity. The world bends to those who bend their limits. No one's coming to crown you. You crown yourself when your results are undeniable. You will be hated before you're praised, doubted before you're believed. You do it anyway because you don't need applause, you need impact. Success will not ask if you're tired, it will ask if you're done. And if you're not done, you keep showing up, you keep pushing when others break, you keep building when others sleep. Because that's the difference between wishing and winning. Your success will come from the pain you endured, not the praise you received. It will rise from the moments no one saw, the hours you stayed locked in the silence. Success grows in the dark before it explodes in the light. And by then it's too late for the doubters, too late for the ones who laughed. Because you became what they never believed. The clock is ticking in. Every second you delay, your greatness leaks into the void. You don't have time to be casual. You don't have time to play nice with your own limits. You don't get tomorrow back, so why aren't you squeezing it until it bleeds? Results most will never get what they want because they're addicted to easy, but easy is the enemy of evolution. Success is earned, not inherited. It's pulled from the jaws of resistance, not handed from comfort. You must become a savage for what you want, relentless in effort, reckless in pursuit, ruthless with excuses. Because nothing is more expensive than regret. And every time you quit, you pay with your soul. You cannot half commit to greatness. It demands your full obsession. It doesn't ask for balance, it asks for everything. If your goals don't consume you, your comfort will. You either sacrifice for your dream or your dream becomes the sacrifice. Success belongs to those who refuse to be tamed, who wake up with war in their hearts and purpose in their pulse, who don't just chase opportunity, they create it with their own bare hands. You have one shot at this life and you don't get to restart, so why the hell are you still waiting to feel ready? Go before you're prepared, move before you're qualified, speak before you're confident, build before they believe in you. Because the truth is no one's going to believe until they see. They'll never see until you become. Success does not tolerate hesitation. It rewards speed, precision, and obsession. You cannot tiptoe to the top. You have to storm it. You have to declare that you belong there and then back it up with undeniable effort. The world doesn't give power to those who whisper. It gives it to those who roar. So stop trying to be liked and start trying to be legendary. Stop seeking validation and start demanding results. Stop hoping for a break and become the break. Success bows to the one who never backs down, to the one who trades for every risk, for the one who shows up on the days they have every reason. Not to success is not for the emotional, it's for the unshakable, not for the convenient, but for the committed, not for those who want to be seen, but for those who force the world to look. You must become the kind of person success cannot ignore. By your energy, by your discipline, by your obsession, by your refusal to lose. You will not be remembered for what you wanted, you will be remembered for what you did. So do the work now, bleed in silence now, sacrifice the small now, so that one day the world looks at you and sees proof that it was possible all along.